Hello everyone, Joe Connelly in the shop. Today we're going to do a little walk around, a little shop tour and see who's working on what they got on the bench. And of course, you're always stuck starting with me because I'm your friendly host. Today I have a Martin D28 serial number 194807, which puts it in the year 1949. 1949 D28. Is that it? Did I get that right? 194807. I did. Yep. So, of course, how did I know it was a 1949? I looked right in here in the sound hole. I don't know, can you see that in there? And there's a serial number and a model number. The model number is up above and the serial number is right below it. Maybe I can see it like that with my new handy dandy. The guitar?
Yeah.
There we go. So there's the serial number. And I have a serial number list right over here from Martin, and it has the last serial number of each year. So the last serial number of 1949 is 112961. The last serial number 48 is 108269. So this falls right in between there, 1949. And this guitar is going to be going up on consignment if I ever get it finished. I will, maybe even by tomorrow. It needed a new bridge in particular. It also had the neck reset. You'll notice that the 14th fret is missing here. That's because I pulled that fret, drilled these two holes down through, and they go right into the back end of the dovetail cavity where there is a slight space, and it allows me to inject steam into that, and that allows me to loosen the neck and take it off. I put a new bridge on here. You can see that it has the standard shape, or the footprint, and then the standard shape with the two wings sloped off here and this back edge rounded and off. I drilled the bridge pin holes, and I just recently fit the bridge pins. Here are my bridge pins, which I've put in this little block here. There's the low E, and there's the high E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that I know which pin goes into which one, because you can see from these pins, they're pretty old, a little bit boogered up. This would not be a bad idea to replace these pins, but we have not chosen to do so because they are the original pins and they're still functioning. So anyhow, first thing I did was to take my 5-degree reamer and ream out the pinhole as such till the pin set down nice and flush there to that first ring. I did that for all of them, and I took another reamer type tool that I chuck into my drill press, and I chamfer these edges here. It just puts that little bevel on the edge there rather quickly. Bevels that edge. Then you want to see that again. There you go. The hole in that is for the wood that gets scooped out of there. It has somewhere to go then. And that's the sharp edge. Then I take one of my two little saws here. There are two different sizes, 56 thousandths and 28 thousandths wide. And I create a slot at the front side of that for the string. These pins have a slot in them. So I'm trying to create a slot so that these slots are sized such that they should accommodate about half of the string width, and I create a slot in here that does the other half. So I basically saw that slot in there like so, and then I take a file. These are files that are the Stuart McDonald company. They're specifically for this job because they could fit in the hole. And they are. This is a 67 thousandths, and that is the size that I wanted to create for that string. Even though it's a 56 thousandths wide string, a medium string, on its playing, like it's double wrapped right in there, and it's about 67 thousandths. So I file that half round shape into the front of that and really size the whole thing in particular. And I go down and do that with this series of files here, ranging from 6751. Oh, that's the 87. That's in the wrong order. That's the one I don't use. That would be for a bass string. 43 and 28. Anyhow, I have those pins ready to accept strings, those holes ready to accept strings, and I'm going to put a fret in here and level the frets, cut a saddle slot, string that thing up and fix it. So that's what I got going. We're moving along here to our next victim. Oh, that's funny. Hey, Steve.
Hi, Joe.
There you go. Steve's taking a picture of the end of a Fender bass neck.
Yeah, we're trying to authenticate what's going on here, so we have to go through it and get a visual record of everything while we have it apart. Note any of the significant date stamps or pot codes in here. I have to take the pick guard off to look at the electronics. So far it looks good in the pocket, but we don't have a date on it. But this is a typical procedure when someone wants something evaluated. We have to go through it and take it apart to be able to see how much of it's original and value it from there.
So it's nice on a Fender instrument which has a bolt-on neck. You can easily take the neck off to access. And they put a lot of pertinent information on the neck, and sometimes in the case pocket or in the neck pocket. In the neck pocket, you can see some finish information. It tells you about, whether the finish is original, just from the way the interior of the case pocket looks. And underneath the pick guard, as Steve was talking about, the potentiometers have a code from the manufacturer. And those codes can tell you who the manufacturer is and when that potentiometer was manufactured. Most of the time, the Fender would use potentiometers from the same year as the was manufactured. But
With some exceptions.
Yep.
When CBS bought the company, they ended up with a lot of 1966 potentiometers, and so you see those through 1971 in some cases.
So they had a 5-year backlog of potentiometers to use. Notice how Steve laid out all the screws as I was laying out the bridge pins. All those screws can go back in the same order, because even though they're screws that are, quote, identical and put into identical holes, because how old is this thing, do you think, Steve, right out there?
Well, I'm not exactly sure.
But
early
it's measured
70s.
in decades, I'm sure.
Early
And
70s.
yeah, so it's measured in decades, and so after decades of use, those screws and screw holes can wear in various unique ways, so it's best to put them back in the exact same place.
I don't know if you can see the
Here's a pot code right there.
pot code, so I need to get pictures of that myself.
The pot code information is contained in various books. It tells you, and there are Fender, authentication. That's a bad phrase. Fender books on how to authenticate a Fender guitar out there, which we sell, that would tell you how to read a pot code. Steve continues on, and we will too. Thanks, man.
1971.
71 from the pot codes. There we go. This is Paul's bench, and he is at the counter, but he is in the process of working on this really nice J200 Gibson. Where's the neck? He took the neck off. It's sitting right back here, I guess. There's a couple of necks off. Anyhow, Paul's in process there, so we may be able to revisit him. Let's go talk to Stretch. Scott Stretch Rhinesmith, y'all know him?
Joe.
Hey, man. This is a guitar you may remember from a previous Facebook Live in the shop.
Was it a Facebook Live?
We did.
I didn't do it.
Yeah, you did. You showed me that one time.
Did I really?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Oh.
The guy was
So this is from apparently went to was in World War I with the 15th U.S. Engineers Jazz Band, and so these are and everybody scratched their name in the back. That was in the band here. And that's really neat. No, yeah, you're right. I think we did.
Yeah, we did.
So
It's got
that-
some really cool engineered fixes for the peg head, keeping the binding in the sides.
Right along the way, it got beat up, and
Yeah, you can
and there
see.
wasn't any luthier tagging around to fix it, so they used what they could and probably went to a metal shop, sheet metal or something, and they tacked it up.
So previously, you did a bunch of work to it.
I did,
you
yeah.
made
It
the
was falling
bridge.
apart.
Did you make the fingerboard and put it on?
I didn't make the finger. I did, I think, about a refret, I believe, on this,
and
and
then
then
neck reset. I'll bet. Or
neck
maybe not.
reset. As I didn't want to go overbound with too tall a saddle because how fragile it's been, all broken here. So
Keep that torque on the
keep
top
the
to a
torque
minimum.
down. Put a new brace under here. Somebody had put like it was like a door handle that they found
yeah.
for a brace underneath there.
Mhm.
This used to have a trapeze tailpiece and then just a floating bridge, which is long gone. But
And so the customer had this for quite a while, and he decided, and there was a question even at that point is whether they wanted to replace the binding and
there were several inches of binding missing, in different places.
okay.
And he just wanted to keep it that way for then. Now he's decided it was just too bothersome, and he didn't want it to, ruin the wood or anything like that. So,
But obviously the repairs that you did are holding up well, and he's
Oh, yeah,
realizing that this is a guitar that's gonna last for a while, so it's worthwhile,
it's a really neat instrument with a
Yeah.
cool history.
So you can see that channel there. You can see on the back
Yeah.
there's plastic binding, and you can see this channel here that has been cut into the edge that is now exposed because Stretch took that old binding off.
Some of his binding, it was just falling apart like a cracker, and some of it just came right off, and other stuff was almost impossible to get off without doing damage to it. So I ended up using a router to get the binding off.
Yeah, it's got a nice
And
clean.
get a nice clean cut in there.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm in the middle of getting ready to tuck. I had to put a cut in here on the new binding, which you can't buy to fit the instrument. You always got to buy oversized and cut it down.
You're gonna squeeze that right in there.
That's going right in there.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to tuck that.
When
I just got it cut, I believe.
When it's
and that-
initially bound,
fits right up
the
in
neck
there.
is not on there yet, so you can fit that.
Right.
That's cool.
And that's just going to go right around like that.
Yeah.
And so I was able to cut the height down to within, it's about 10 thousandths or so.
You want to leave it a little proud, but it's nice to get the majority of that cut down the size so that you have very little to do once it's on there because you got to protect
Right.
the rest of the guitar. Binding is a little easier to do in the building process when there's raw unfinished wood there, and you
Right.
can cut it right down and sand the wood at the same time to get it perfectly flush. But in the repair situation after the fact, it's a more challenging.
And it's, being really squared out binding, it kind of looks a little ridiculous on this, but this is actually the same thickness, but it don't look like it because it's rolled over and shaven and kind of rolled into the top. And so we got to go through that process and then make it look like it belongs on there.
And
do
it's
some,
stark white, brand
antiquing
new.
on it,
Yep. He's going to do some finish touch up on it and try to, while making it look nice and new and replaced, it's still not as brand new as that, to sort of make it fit with the rest of the instrument. Well, thanks, man. It's cool to see that guitar again.
Yep.
Hey, Johnny. John Joswiak, everybody.
Hey.
Johnny is working on a fairly unique mandolin. It's an instrument that we sold as is here to a customer, and they decided to have us do the repair work that it needed. And it was a neck reset for the most part, right, John?
Yeah, the neck was coming off a little bit, and it was pretty easy to get off. Wasn't too bad. Just got this lumpy looking
It's
scroll
got a
there.
unique scroll, so it's an F-style instrument in my mind, even though
It's called a A5.
it's called an A5. That's the thing which is a weird model designation because, of course, there are other A5s that actually look like A model mandolins. So this is a F model mandolin in one way, and it has this extended scroll here, but the scroll, it's not a scroll. You know, it usually curls in like this, like a violin scroll, but this is just a lump there. And so it was, we guessed that this was a way to make an F-style shaped instrument, but make it less expensive, so that because there's a lot of handwork that goes into making that scroll. It still has the 2 points, but it's a weird little time in Gibson history that they made these.
Yeah, it was made in Kalamazoo, so I'm not sure what year it was from, but
yeah, so they didn't move out of Kalamazoo till the mid '70s, right? Or no, Norlin owned Gibson, purchased Gibson while it was still in Kalamazoo, right?
I think.
Was it
Yeah.
The Norlin era took place in Kalamazoo, but then everything moved to Nashville, and there's of course the acoustic part of Gibson is still in Bozeman, Montana, or at least parts of it.
So I took the neck off this the other day and let it sit overnight, and then I changed the neck angle, and then I put it back on.
Yeah. So you had to sand that heel cap to fit it in. That's why it's kind of white there. But basically, the neck was coming off, so I had to put the neck back on.
Yeah,
sturdy.
it wasn't loose, but there was a cute,
it had changed and
sizable
moved.
gap.
It had changed and moved and made the instrument unplayable. All right. Very cool, John. Thank you very much. Let's see. Let's move on to Michael here. Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Mike Hanerhoff, everybody. Mike has an Appalachian Dulcimer on his bench, which has a couple of unique things that we're doing to it in particular.
Yeah, this putting a pickup in this one. This is kind of an interesting case for a lot of reasons. In that, there's sound holes, but they're carved into the top, so there's no access to the inside of the instrument.
Yeah.
So there's no way to. You realize how important it is to get inside of an instrument whenever you try to. About a year ago, I repaired a back crack on this instrument, and it was, it was way up here. You can kind of see where it was. Don't get in too close. You don't need to see too well. It's there somewhere. It's over there somewhere. It's somewhere in there. It's like right in there somewhere. Anyways, so it presents a whole bunch of unique challenges. When you can't get at the inside of something, you sort of have to think completely outside the box. In this case, this pickup, this block is about yay big. Actually, where I put that tape is a approximate edge of the block, and there's a wire. I'm gonna work this out of here, and it's pretty snugly fit in here.
There you go, very snugly fit.
Nice
so
and
snug,
snug.
You can barely get it out of his fingers.
Watch out, Juan. I don't want to elbow you in the face. So this I don't want to pull it all the way out but I had to figure out how to get this wire to go in through on an angle and then come back around out this way, and I had to use a special kind of jack instead of the typical strap jack that we would use, which mounts actually from the inside. I had to go with this one that mounts from the outside, and I had to put this foam gasket on here because this edge of this thing is shaped so weirdly it would never have sat flat, no matter which way I got it on there. So whole bunch of different things that I've had to do on this one that have made it a little
Challenging
tricky
pickup
side.
installation.
One of the hardest things is fishing that wire out.
It's because it's
Yeah,
coming in
people.
this way and back out. And
Yeah, it's coming in on an angle away from the
But
hole.
you got
so
it. You got it.
I had to use these little guys. Steve's little.
Interesting.
Yeah. Those things are super helpful, but
So it already has a pickup on there, as you can see.
Yeah, which
but the customer was not real happy with the performance of this Marcus Berry top transducer pickup. This is where it would plug in. That's the pickup down there. So this should give a whole different level of performance. That pickup.
They better.
Yeah. All right. So what do we got left? Let's see. Come back to my bench here. And yeah, that's our shop tour for today. So thanks for tuning in to Facebook Live. And remember, we're here every other Thursday at 3 o'clock. So remember to share us and like us on Facebook. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. We hope to have another roundtable discussion about some fun repair topic. Take care. We'll see you soon.